Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a model made from 2012 to 2017. This is the Bethune DB27 Titan Hawk version 1. Version 1 had the big 6-day power reserve and the date indicator. Version 2 has a central seconds hand and a much shorter power reserve. That came out in 2018. This is actually my preference between the two. So the watch is 43 millimeters in diameter in grade 5 titanium, which is lighter than steel and also harder and more scratch resistant than steel. In terms of thickness, 12.3 millimeters, and there's two different measurements. So when the lugs are fully extended, the watch is 50.5 millimeters lug-to-lug. When they are compressed, 47.5 millimeters lug-to-lug, with a 26 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now, De Bethune, as with FP Journe, makes its own cases, bracelets, and dials, so everything you see here comes from the manufacturer. Throwing it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, you can see that this short lug layout, and this is what De Bethune calls its short lugs, actually wears beautifully. I could recommend this on a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. It is not thick. It's only about as thick as a Rolex Daytona, and it's very light, being all sapphire and titanium. With the floating lugs, it will adjust to your wrist size, and it'll wear underneath a cuff, it'll wear on a short wrist, a small wrist, a wrist that prefers a lighter watch. It's all of these things. Ergonomically outstanding. It includes a De Bethune factory strap, which is medium rectangular scale gator on the top, small round scale on the bottom. It is a black strap, semi-gloss, with a monotone stitch and, as you can see, a sheer cut edge. The gator on the top and bottom has a purpose. It makes for a longer lasting strap than if you have calfskin on the bottom, and you can see this is a brand new De Bethune factory strap. We have a matching titanium pin buckle, and you can see the evacuated profile of the edges of the buckle echo the floating lug structure on the watch itself. You have these little torpedo-shaped ogival caps, the long-time styling signature of the brand, and the last styling vestige of the original 2002 DB1, their first watch. That's the last styling element still retained from that original model. Now you can see that everything's in high polish. It's all grade 5 tie. You can't polish grade 2, and that there's no distinct bezel. The case and the bezel are all one piece, so it's a monoblock, and everything loads through the case back. The dial is a dark blue with silver print. You can see it's got a toroidal hour and minute track outboard, and then it slopes down to a center dial that includes a little minute hand and hour hand superimposed over a radial date indicator, and I'll do my best to show you how this works. The crown is a screw down. The watch is 30 meters water resistant, but a very sincere 30 meters with the use of a screw down crown. For the most part, you can achieve 30 meters with just seals. I suspect this watch is far more water resistant than advertised. Now you can see it features a quick set mechanism for that radial date, and the date was lost on the second generation of the Titan Hawk. It was exchanged for a center seconds hand. I like this a little bit better. Now you can manually wind the watch, but the nice thing about this one is you get the 6-day power reserve of the more famous models. You just don't have to manually wind it the way you do the DB28s. Now the dial is made in-house. It has microlight engraving at the center. That is a concentric engraving, a reductive type of guilloche that isn't quite as hackneyed as other forms of decoration. It's not conventional guilloche. It's not conventional Côte de Genève. It's used on both sides of the watch, including movement by De Bethune, and it's a wonderfully distinctive trait that is identified with brand finishing. Flip it all over. You can't see all of the caliber S233, but you can see quite a bit. We have a solid disc of silicone as the balance wheel with a white gold rim, which has a lot of positive functions. It reduces the effect of temperature on the timing, and it maximizes the mass at the outer rim, which increases the polar moment and makes it a more resilient timekeeper. A full balance bridge with triple parachute shock protection, both for durability and improved chronometry. It beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour, and it has a 2-element hand-formed hairspring that allows it to breathe concentrically in any position like an overcoil would, but without the thickness and shock susceptibility of the overcoil. We also have an automatic winding system, so this 6-day power reserve is super low maintenance. The DB28s with those extended reserves are all manual wind. Here we get automatic winding, so you really don't have to think about energizing your watch. The watch, if worn daily, is essentially set it and forget it. Many patents registered: the twin self-adjusting mainspring barrels, the balance, the hairspring, Lots to love about the triple pair shoot, which is also patented. There's a lot of proprietary technology in this watch. And again, Bethune, which makes about 200 watches a year now, has built fewer than 3,000 watches since its founding in 2002. This is an independent brand on the rise, my personal favorite brand. And if you're not into the extravagant open dials, the Star Trek look of the DB28s, this is going to be a great point of entry into the brand, especially since this watch wears so well on a small wrist. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.